All right. All right. We are on.
We're on.
James Hayes.
How are you, brother?
Good, man. Good. Welcome to Not Your Thoughts.
Thanks, man. Oh, I really appreciate it. We finally got there.
I appreciate you making the time. Yeah, we took a bit, but we've made it, man. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries at all.
But I did want to start today with a bone to pick. I have a bone to pick with you, actually.
Go for it.
It's about something you posted.
Okay.
Something to the effect of, you were saying it's somewhat justifying $7.50 coffees.
I was.
And so speaking as a broke bitch, I took it to heart. To be honest, I'm like, wait. We $7.50 coffees are too much. Can you defend this position for me?
I can, man. The reason I brought it up was because, yeah, you know, small businesses especially, like, and only speaking from, you know, my own experiences, like 2024 was fucking hard, man, you know, and, you know, if people didn't keep up with the changes and inflation and all that sort of stuff, like, yeah, I don't think, like, you can already see there's a lot of small businesses that have, like, crumbled over the last
that's
sort of,
true.
you know, year, 2 years. And, you know, like if you do provide a good service and, you know, you are open on a public holiday and, you know, you've got a good team around you and you want to, you know, I really applaud people trying to make a profit in their business. And, you know, if you are in business, you sort of understand it's not really about, you know, how fat can we make our wallets. Fat wallets are good. So
We do like fat wallets, yeah.
but it's really like, you know, you've got two choices. You know, you can go down the path where you know, trying to look after the public and, you know, give things away and, you know, not make much of a profit. But like, you know, if you go down that path, it's like you can't invest in good people, you can't invest in good equipment and stuff like that, so that you can provide a good service. You know, you're stressed out of your mind, and to be honest, you're going to be like that anyway in small business. So like, there has to be some sort of payoff.
Yeah.
And, you know, in my experience, you know, speaking to other people in small business and just with myself, like, you know, the more money you make internally, it doesn't mean it actually, you know, goes in your back pocket and, you know, for tax purposes and stuff like that, you probably, you know, don't want to, especially in smaller business, you don't want to be having huge profits, but it's like, right, we can put more money back into the business and invest in better equipment. You know, we can actually pay our guys, you know, a really good, well above award wage and that sort of thing, and find some really good key players so that your business can get better and you can provide a better service. So there's two sides to the pendulum, and I get it. And like things, it's just, but what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And you know,
And you got to stay afloat. It's
Yeah.
when the
Yeah.
social inflation's happening,
yeah.
you have to survive. So
Yeah.
I can completely appreciate that.
Yeah, but I'm glad you brought that up.
Because funny enough, like a theme on this podcast, I didn't even mean it to be, but I keep complaining. I just find myself complaining about sushi prices.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why the sushi prices I've taken to heart. Because
Yeah.
I watched it go from $1.80 to $2.20 to $40 to $60. Now they're $4.50.
Yeah.
So
Especially if you nail a head. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I need like four to be
It's a $30
satisfied.
occasion, yeah.
So, no, I appreciate it. Then from that perspective though, and I can appreciate like maximizing profits reasonably, is there too much? Like at what would James Hayes say a $12 coffee is too much? Is it relative to your pay, or how do you determine what's too much?
Good question, man. You know, and I guess I can't really speak for a cafe, you know, never having really run one, but, you know, for us, we've only just recently had another price increase. I think like, yeah, over the weekend, to be honest, on Saturday, actually, I up to a lot of our labour and service prices and stuff like that. And, you know, I had a look back, I was like, maybe it's too soon, but it was 12 months ago when you know, and, you know, if we don't keep up with that, you know, it's very easy to see, you know, your bottom line just slowly diminish. You know, you might be getting the sales and everything like that and, you know, turning over, but like, it can be pretty tough to make a profit in the current climate.
Yeah, but that feels different to me because you're providing like an elite service and you know you're ahead of the market to say, hey, this is what this costs if you want the best. Whereas not my sushi, man. You know, like, so I'm kind of justifying where you're coming from because it feels slightly different.
100%.
But
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from, man. And and trust me, I'm like, fuck, $7. It was $7.20 or something like that for a small almond latte. And but in the same breath, it was a public holiday. They were the only joint open. They had about 6 staff members in there as one of those drive-through cafes. And dude, I drove in, had a coffee in my hand within 5 minutes flat.
Right.
And on a public holiday, and it's just there's value there. And so they run a good business. I know they're good with their staff. They pay people, and I do sort of know those guys, and they're able to do that because they're making money. And it's tough, and I encourage anybody in small business, you need to break through that mold, that mindset of trying to look after everybody, or the fear of turning away customers, because I know it sounds shit, but really the only customers that you're going to turn away might not be the customers that you want anyway, because they're siding with the dollar as opposed to value, and so it's a different animal.
Yeah, and you're kind of doing the same thing there, is they're just after the dollar anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're all playing the exact same game. So why should the person who's made something out of it with the business have to be the hero of society and wear it on the chin?
Yeah.
But then me as a cheap consumer, why do I need to be like, how dare you? So I can really wear both hats, but I'm currently on the broke bitch side. So.
Oh, dude, it's you're not alone, man. Everyone's tight. Dude, 2024, I'll be honest, it was one of the tightest years we've had since we've been in business. So we've had some major setbacks, and I trust me, I've been on both sides of the pendulum for sure.
Yeah. Because your business has developed from, I guess, you being involved, and then I hear you with your podcast with your wife Jemima, the Couple Empire, which I'd highly recommend listening to. It starts off with as a 4-part pod series essentially, which kind of captures your two growth, and then it's kind of become your experience after that, what you've learnt. I was going somewhere with that before we dive into that. Yeah. I'm not sure where I was going with that. It'll come back to me. If you let it go, it comes back. If you let it go, it comes back. But how has that experience been like? Sorry, yeah. So you guys started as, obviously you were more involved, and now you've kind of moved into a, exit strategy. I hear you talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
Is that where you're at now? You've essentially created a franchise and somewhat removed yourself from the image as well?
Yeah, well, that is the sort of macro plan. Basically we had success pretty early on in the first few years. We went from, so if you don't know, our business is Alpha Tyres, so tyre and automotive business. We focus on, pretty much everything automotive, but our main niche is on-site commercial, truck and agricultural tyres. And we had success early on, did a lot of the right things, did a lot of things that other people weren't prepared to do. And, we scaled to 3 locations in about 3 years. And that was sort of my original plan, before having, been in the trenches and understanding small business and all that sort of stuff. And so the plan was I wanted to accumulate as many stores as I could, independently. And that was the way that I wanted to do it. But you soon realise, once we got to 3 stores, it's which we did purely off of just cash flow. We got cash flow positive in the first business, went into the second one, got that cash flow positive third, and we just compounded like that. But it's very capital intensive setting up brick and mortar locations. And the hardest thing for us has just been, finding, keeping, and finding, training, and keeping, good people.
Yeah, that seems to be a theme with a lot of people right now.
It's tough, man. The labour market at the moment is just it's tough, bro. And I always put it back on myself. I'm it's me that needs to become a better leader, and 100% that is true. We can always become better as leaders, but to some degree, it is also unskilled labour. You're attracting a demographic of human being that doesn't really have, they're usually there by default. They don't have a lot of ambition and goals and stuff like that.
And you can't teach drive.
It's very hard to, how do you motivate unmotivated people? I'm not too sure. It's tough.
But that's there's a broader social thing, and I don't want to dive too deep into the following, but with legal migration that's happened, we as a country, I feel have become so self-actualized, and we're doing so well, we're all so fruitful that every one of us wants to either become an influencer or a crazy business person, and we all want to be that. And now we've got, legal migrants coming in who are willing to work like 80 hours a week. And as Aussie citizens, I feel like our drive is becoming less as well.
It's happening, man.
You know what I mean? And I can imagine you'd be
Yeah.
experiencing that firsthand.
Yeah, I have a very, very opinionated dystopian view of what I think Australia is going to be like in the next 10, 20 years.
Or like
and I really
20
think,
minutes.
or 20 minutes, yeah. Like the labour market, like skilled labour, anything outside where you're in the weather or getting your hands dirty, I think is just eventually going to be outsourced to foreigners that are prepared to do that sort of stuff. And I think we're going to see a massive divide in, like, there's going to be sort of lower socioeconomic Australians that just aren't prepared to work hard and do it. And I think that there's going to be, a small portion of Australians as well that, I guess can not take advantage of the situation. I guess that's probably wrong way to look at it, but can see
opportunity.
Can see the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like for me, being a young guy, I'm 33. My wife and I started our business only 5 years ago when we were 28.
Oh wow, man! I didn't realize that.
And I can see that, like, and a lot of friends that I've got can see, like, fuck, man, if you really want something, like, in this country, you can just fucking go for it.
It's yeah, exactly.
It's like right there. It's because nobody's prepared to do the hard work, the hard yards, and I think everyone wants to be that top dog and all that sort of stuff, or get into business, but it's like, what we had to do in those first couple of years, I just don't think, even what we've been over the last 12 months, I don't think not many people would be prepared to do it just for the sake of building a business. You have to be in love with the process. It's not about the sort of the identity or the status or the money or anything like that.
That comes with it on the side. But it can't be the drive.
Eventually,
sorry.
it will be a byproduct for sure.
Yeah.
But it's definitely can't be the driving force, because I genuinely, have just get a kick out of it. And like we've gone months where like we haven't paid my wife because cash flow shit, and having those conversations, and because it does get like that, and it's not like it's sunshine and rainbows all the time. It's fucking tough. But
it gets hard though as well. Just to bring it back to the labour element, when as Aussies we're now competing against immigrants who, let's say they're not citizens, they're just on like a work visa. If they don't work hard, they're getting sent back.
Yeah.
And they're getting sent back to a third world country. And now we as Aussies in Australia are, from a labour perspective, competing against people who don't want to go back and are willing to work for more for less.
Yeah.
I don't know how we actually square that circle when I don't want to do that. And people I know don't want to do that. So I don't expect to solve the world's issues here right now, but I don't see the solution because I'm a part of the problem as well. If that makes sense.
Dude, I literally, pretty much all of the clients that we take on, or, I have, multiple sales calls a week with potential prospects and stuff. And they talk about the labour issue. And I say the exact same thing. I think the only solution is going to be skilled migration visas.
Yeah.
So we've just recently pulled the trigger on it last year, and we got a gentleman from the Philippines. And it costs $13,000, so it's expensive.
Yeah.
So it's not, and it took 10 months, so it's not a fix your problem right now.
Right.
Which is probably the hardest thing, because like when you need small business, it's like you might have 4 people in your team, and so like you lose one, that's 25% of your workforce, and then just getting somebody over from the Philippines in 10 months probably isn't the immediate solution, and so they keep going in this cycle of, going without somebody for a couple of months, then they just fill it with another idiot, and then really they just. I think if you're in small business, and you're struggling with the current labour market, I think you've just got to maybe invest the money and just prepare for them to be coming, because it's only a matter of time. You just continue to churn the people you've got. I think I know that sounds terrible.
No, it doesn't at all. It does not. It's just the reality of
people might
life.
be listening and going dude, why you churn through so many guys? And I'm actually we go above and beyond for all of our guys. We pay them well above award wage and all that sort of stuff. And we've got some really, really good guys now. But it's taken 5 fucking years to find a really good team that they love being there, we love having them, and you can see the longevity as well with the relationship. So it's tough, man.
Yeah. Why did you mention a moment ago you feel you could be better? I know there's always improvement. Is there something you want to pinpoint that you feel you can work on, or in general?
I I guess I listen to Andy Elliott quite a bit.
Okay.
I know he cops a bit of heat on the internet for his short shorts and all that sort of stuff, but he's got a lot of value to bring. And you know, sometimes I get frustrated about, you know, circumstance with a team member or whatever. And you know, I think by default we all play the sort of victim mentality ourselves, where it's like it's them, not us. And it's just like, okay, it definitely might be them, but like, how could I become even better? And you know, I think I saw earlier about negotiation. You know, how do I become a better negotiator for them to be able to see the value so that they can stay? Because if I can, as a boss, as a leader, can be so fucking good that, like, you know, we make it a place where it's more than just coming to work, and, you know, more than just getting a wage, and, you know,
A cultural element. Yeah.
which is really hard to do in our sort of game. But yeah, there's always room to become a better leader, you know.
Okay,
And I think because we experience growth very quickly, you know, at the end of the day, if you're an employee, you know, you're usually an employee because you're either eventually going to get into your own gig, or you like stability. And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And so that's why you're
or
an
lack of
employee.
responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, there's times where I'm like, hey, I'm happy not
Yeah.
having to make the decisions.
Exactly. And so because we experience growth quite quickly, you know, there's definitely a bit of instability there, like for a large portion of that. And so that would have definitely, you know, been a contributor. But me as a leader, like, I just feel like I can always become better. You can always become a better dad. You can always become a better husband. You can always be better. And so, like, and if you don't have that mindset with every fucking problem that comes your way, then, you know, you essentially will be the bottleneck, and that's where you'll stay. Whereas if you can just accept everything that comes to you as an opportunity to learn and develop as a bro, as a leader, as a boss, whatever, yeah, you just have to take accountability at the end of the day. And so I just try and do that mental exercise. Like Jocko Willing, he talks about extreme ownership, and it's just like, so no matter what happens, even though I might be frustrated with whatever it is, you know, that I think's been thrown my way from, you know, the powers above or whatever, I still need to take it as like, right, what do I need to fucking improve so that if this beast comes at me again, I'm going to fucking, you know, I'm going to get through it.
Yeah, or when this beast comes at me again.
Exactly, because it's gonna nothing remains the same, you know, everything, that's life, you know, nothing, like everything is impermanent.
Yeah. There's a beautiful quote, which I'll somewhat butcher. There is no reward for perfection, only the end to pursuit. So really what happens when if you aim for, well, perfection doesn't exist firstly, but if you think you've achieved it, all that really means if you've stopped the drive, you've stopped the hunger.
Yeah.
So perfection really just means we're not pursuing anything anymore. So I think if you're at that point, or you believe you're at that point, well, you're not.
100%. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And dude, you see this a lot with like boomers, like, you know, my parents' generation, and that, where they just lack that emotional intelligence and awareness to grow, change, and evolve. You know, too much pride, too much ego, and you know, I've seen the downfall of that, you know, with people close to me, and I'm just like, fuck, I just do not want to be like that. You know, because I've always been like pretty headstrong. You know, very egotistical, you know, from a young age. And, you know, so trying to grow into that and trying to sort of beat that beast, like you do definitely need like some sort of superiority complex and an ego to sort of, I guess, want to achieve more and keep driving forward. But,
well, to move in the world, there's got to be a story of our person that's doing something.
But then it's like, sort of being aware of that and using that as a tool, but also trying to develop as well. So it's like a humble pursuit as well, which is like...
Yeah. It's such a tango, man, because, you need to be... Like, I've got pride in the man I am and who I've become and am becoming, but you got to have an element of pride and ego to be like, yeah, I'm on the right path, at least. Otherwise... I can go meditate in a mountain and just...
Oh, dude, somebody said...
Which you have, I think. You went to India, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I spent 6 months in India, did the whole Himalayas. I did Vipassana meditation. So it's like a 10-day silent retreat in the Himalayas, like minus 25 degrees, fucking in the snow, like full movie quality shit. It was cool, man. It was sort of like what I've been dreaming of since I was a young bloke, and just going on one of those solo journeys, and I guess sorting out between the years and coming back with a different perspective, or a bit more of an open perspective. Yeah, So it's
Detached.
detached. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, especially like 6 months, man. Like you don't do something like that, you come back a different person in a good way.
Yeah,
Like I just remember coming back and I just felt like I had a fucking aura around me. I was just felt like I was glowing, and it was a beautiful feeling. And like I guess to detour back to business, like that's why I got into business was like I fell in love with adventure and traveling so much because I saw the benefit of that. And but I was just sort of going in that cycle of like brokey, travel for 3 to 6 months, brokey, find another job, make some money, and I was just like I was in Alaska. I did a salmon season in Alaska, and that was like my last gig to sort of make some cash, and then I was going to go and do another trip. And I remember being on the back of this fishing tender. It was like fucking 2 o'clock in the morning, and
I recall this.
yeah, we're waiting to fucking offload all the fish in the fish holds, and I was there having a cigarette, and I was just like, "The fuck you doing with your life, bro? Like you're just gonna keep going in these circles."
Well, escaping almost. It sounds like
And I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna go back, and I'm just gonna build a cash machine that's gonna allow me to, make money so that I don't have a budget, so I can,
Wow.
experience things on a higher level and hopefully get some location freedom and so that's been the quest, bro. I think that's been a massive driver for me, like just wanting to get back to, and now that I've got a wife and beautiful daughter, taking them along with me and giving those experiences that I had, but with the family. So
Yeah.
that's the goal, man. But
For me, the holidays, whenever I'm on holiday, the beauty of it is the lack of routine. That's where I enter like freedom because there's no set day. Everything morphs into just like life or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when I'm on holiday, I haven't been on much, but the closer it gets to the end, like a thought about work will arise and I'll just fucking push that shit down. And then the closer, they start popping up more and more
Yeah.
until I'm back. And I feel like the routine is what really like, not makes me suffocate, but that's when I feel like I'm just trapped a bit.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, have you lost a bit of that magic because you've got a strong routine, assuming you even agree with that, or?
Yeah, you tap into different. If you were to label it magic, you tap into a different frequency, man. Like for me, if you didn't know me, like when I was traveling, like you would think that I was just like quite rigid, fucking routine, habits, rituals, and dialed in, which I sort of feel like I have to be with the amount of responsibility I've got and the ambition that I've got. And I need that sort of structure and routine to be productive. Otherwise, I'm just like quite happy, believe it or not, just like fucking being on a beach in India and smoking hash and doing fuck all for an extended period of time.
I feel that. Yeah.
And I just finding that balance. I don't think I'd be able to go back to that complete switch off. Like we went to Bali in September for about a month, and like we still going to the gym every day, still working every day.
Nice.
Still
I thought you were about to leave us with that. You were putting posts up like, I'm never fucking coming back. I'm like, bro, no, what do you mean?
I was doing
we can't
everything
lose you.
I'm doing everything I can, man, to get back over there. And I think we've actually got the Power Couple Empire podcast. We shot an episode while we were over there sort of talking about 2024, but I couldn't put it up for like legal reasons. And I talk a bit about it in there, and it's just like we were there for a month to sort of scope it out, see how the business ran while we were away, and then I guess come back and try and implement it and just I guess make it happen. That's sort of the goal. Hopefully this year to we're probably going to
abandon us.
Abandon you, yeah. Abandon. That's how I sort of feel. That's what my mum's been saying. She's just like, you've fucking taken my grandchild away.
But honestly, I think genuinely, and that's another beauty of the world we live in. You're about to, what I think, like live the dream everyone wants to, which is be able to run a business off your laptop in Bali at the beach. Like that's I think most of everyone. No, but I think that's become. I don't know. Tell us in the comments below. But like I genuinely think that's become everyone's dream is to have that ability. Which congratulations, you're almost about to bring to life.
I hope so, man. Like it's been a lot of hard work, and we're definitely not there yet. That is the plan. Sort of, I should have a bit more of an indication by like March, April if we're going to be able to pull it off. And then if things are on track, then we'll probably look at exiting the retail side of things end of financial year, and then just focus sort of on the online business and potentially get the franchise model as well. I'm not too sure if I want a bit of a breather and just focus on the online for 12 months and then we come back and attack like Alpha Ties on a corporate level the following year, or I'm not too sure. But time will tell, man. I'm literally in monk mode at the moment.
Nice.
Taken a vow of sobriety, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to waver until I like get what I fucking want.
To deserve it.
I'm just like, I just need to just stay focused and see this thing out, because I just like, I'm just passionate about getting back there, man. Like it's been a pretty tough 5 years, like hard work, bro. Like 6-7 days a week.
Wow.
Not much chill at all. So. I got to get there.
Deservingly. That's good.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about the podcast. Why did you guys even start it?
I think my perspective was that there's a lot of podcasts out there, and like a lot of them are quite, interviewing the hero at the end of the hero's journey. And I think, we're still on our journey. We haven't got there yet. And, we're in small business still, so it's, I think it's just going to be refreshing, just like, young couple in traditional brick and mortar business. There's nothing sexy about it. And just sort of talking about the reality, the ups and downs, smiles and frowns of like traditional small business. And I haven't really come across any of that sort of stuff, like especially with our age, a bit younger. There's a few old guys that are in the space. And like I said, a lot of people interviewing people at the end of their hero's journey. It's just like, what about some tangible stuff, like, that we can, practical advice that's happening right now. It's very easy to be at the tail end of a, 8-figure exit, and it's sort of you're giving your feedback then. But what about like just talking and having a conversation about, the ebbs and flows of the day to day in real time, and and just working as a team. I think there's a lot of couples out there trying to do small business or start, and unsure how it works as a family unit, and you see it quite a bit, but it's not super common with like couples in sort of male-dominated industries like, trade services. And, my wife, for example, Jemima, being in there and absolutely fucking killing it, and so, I just enjoy talking business. I just love talking shop, and love trying to inspire other people, and love seeing other people win. And so if we can have conversations around what we're doing, and it, sheds a bit of a different perspective for others, like in a positive way, and gets them on the path, or gets them through a potential roadblock. Like,
why not?
Why not? Yeah,
man. Honestly, everything you said, I'm relating to, because I genuinely have started to become a fan of the podcast. It almost feels wrong that it's free, and I'm not even trying to fluff you up. But as you exactly said, you're like, a lot of the things you said was like, or are saying, they're like simple, actionable behaviors. And you're just like, I just done this. And when you say it like that, I'm like, oh, that's easy. But then I zoom back and I'm like, you guys have created this empire. But then when you're talking on the podcast, you're like, I just did that. I just did that. I just did that. And it really kind of, again, not trying to make it ironic, but they are listening to it. It creates a feeling of I can too. So I really appreciate seeing that.
Yeah, well, it's because you fucking can, bro. Like, honestly, mate, like, I don't know if you know too far back about my story, but like I joined the Navy straight out of school. So I dropped out after year 10 and joined the Navy when I was 17 and moved up to Queensland and just got mixed up with some naughty boys and, fucked my life up for a little bit there. And so... I ended up getting kicked out of the Defence Force, and that was something that I like sort of held pretty close to me for a bit there, and because I was ashamed and all that sort of stuff. But like guilt and shame is like the lowest frequency you can operate at. So I like was just like, oh fuck, this is what happened. So I don't really give a fuck anymore. It's it's about who I can become, not who I was in the past, and so like we haven't done anything like crazy special, but like I'm not saying I'm not special. Like anyone can do what we've done. I've just been like literally obsessed, man. Like I'm just like obsessed. Once I get latched onto something, like my wife reckons I'm like on the spectrum or have severe ADHD
Something going
or
on.
something like that. And I'm like, I probably agree. But, you know, once I get latched onto something and a very addictive personality. And so it's like, where can I like focus those like tangents? And so I've just been sort of focused on, I guess what we've been doing. And because it's a business is an infinite game, it's like you can't clock it.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing that's going to stop you from just continuing on in that sort of that obsession, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. And business, if anything, is the most transferable. So even though I'm not relating to the tires, I'm still relating to the process you guys are going through.
Yeah, 100%.
It's genuinely high value content, and I don't like it's.
No, I appreciate
I don't know
that.
how to stress that enough. That it's
Thanks.
it's high value content. Like there's a lot of what's the term? Either porn or junk, like internet junk, information junk.
Yeah.
Your page, and I guess it really feels like a clean, high value information that feels good to listen to because you're somewhat learning, or it's not always like too rigid, but it's always on a positive note. So
yeah, try to be, man. That is my goal for this year, is to try and start punching out a bit more content. I took a bit of a breather before Chrissy, and just like Hormozy's same model is just give everything away for free and just attract the right people.
Right, I didn't think of that.
You know, like if you can, and then you know people think like, well, fuck, if this is what he gives away for free, then what's it like to potentially work with him? And
that's an element because I'm like constantly, I'm like, wait, he's giving this away. So,
that's what I've sort of been like, because if you're in the like marketing space, you know, people talk about, you know, providing the wow, not the how. So like, how can we wow our audience with like, you know, I guess the facade and the all that sort of stuff, and then but not give them the how. Whereas I'm just like, why don't we just wow and how? It's just like, because you're gonna, if people can't afford to work with you or something like that, then hopefully you give them enough information so that one day they can. And
good point.
Who are they going to come to? And so, so I've sort of had that perspective change. And I think sort of this year is I just want to try and roll out as much like actual practical advice that I can, with things that we've just used that have worked, and advising against maybe things that we've tried that haven't worked. Because like, fuck man, we've turned over close to $20 million in sales in 5 years, and fuck, I made a lot of mistakes, man.
Yeah, fair enough.
Made a lot of mistakes along the way, bro. Like, you know, and so if we can, you know, help people avoid a few of those, you know, then you know, job's done. And if we can help people, I guess, you know, get beyond where they are, then even better.
Yeah. Why not strengthen the community? What is it? A rising tide lifts all boats, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something about stuff and things. Does entering a business partnership with your partner create a stress on the relationship?
100%. Yeah. Oh, there's going to be stressful elements to it because, you know, we've all got different thresholds with how we handle certain things. You know, how you handle stress, and all that sort of stuff. Like my threshold is definitely, you know, higher than my wife's when it comes to, you know, stress and all that sort of stuff. But she's an absolute savage, you know. So, and I think the biggest thing is just making sure that your skill sets complement each other. So, you know, I think if you have the same skill set, like there might be it's going to maybe not work. Same as any business partnership. But if you complement each other with the way that you tick, like your skill set and what you gravitate towards too in the business, then you should be pretty set up for success. But like, you know, everyone's got different. It's always going to put additional stress on the relationship, but on the other side of the pendulum, it makes it better and stronger. And you know, when you're working towards a common goal, and you know, when you have wins and sharing those wins, they're sort of magnified. But you know, obviously going through hard times, then they can be magnified because you're both sort of, you know, one can't lift the other one up when the shit's rough, if that makes sense.
It does, because you're both in the rut in that moment.
So when it's like that, it's like, you know, I might have a day or two or a week where I'm sort of like, you know, feeling fucking good, and I've got that expenditure of energy that I can pass on to her, and there's going to be weeks where she does the same for me, and you know, that's just a marriage. It's, you know, it's not always going to be fucking sunshine and rainbows. It can be tough, but
this is another layer though. Like, are you able to compartmentalize? Are you able to have a blue at work and then switch that off, or you just have to be willing to accept that it's going to come into the relationship and you need to work on it?
No, I think majority of it, the conflicts and that, I guess, would be almost transactional. You know, where it's a sort of, and I think that's why we do so well is because I went to a wedding a couple of years ago, and the father-in-law he did a speech, or the father of the bride said at the speech, he said, "Never go." What did he say? Never. Never go to sleep unresolved or something like that.
I've heard this. Yeah, I've heard that
I've
often.
I've butchered that one as
No,
well.
yeah.
We
Just never go to bed mad, basically.
we keep butchering all these.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not.
but you know, and so we're very good at that. Like, it's just, you know, we've got a problem, we bring it up. You know, there's no sort of underlying bullshit. It's
Oh, so
just
you
like,
agree with that quote? Because I thought, like, and I'm quite single, so I can't really talk.
Yeah.
But I'd assume it'd be all right to sleep off anger and then talk about it later.
No, we honestly, like, we definitely like blue, and then like it's just like rah, 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 and then yeah, that's it, it's done.
That's
And
awesome,
it's like,
man.
and then the next day it's sort of like, oh, okay, well, what sort of day are we having today?
That sounds real, man. It sounds like
you got to, man, because like I
Yeah.
hear some people with their relationships and like they don't talk about certain things, and like, and we talk about everything together. You know, we talk about like you know, ins out. We don't hide anything from each other.
That's amazing.
It's just yeah, it is good. We're very lucky.
You're like, yeah, you just
Good and bad.
good and bad, yeah, of course, as with everything. I want to ask you, yeah, you're obviously doing incredibly well. What is success to you, and do you consider yourself successful now?
I don't actually, and I don't.
Fair enough,
To be honest, like, but my younger self would be very proud, yeah. And it's funny, I actually caught up with a good friend of mine, James, who was a neighbour of mine when I lived in Melbourne, probably 10 years. It would have been 10 years ago, and we caught up for the first time in like 10 years, 8 years maybe. And he goes, "So how's it feel?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You've literally like fucking clocked. You've reached the goal that you had like 10 years ago." And I was like, "Fuck, we've sort of clocked the goal big time, but like, I just don't feel like we're there yet." And like when like we're not, we've got a long way to go. When I think of success and like the law of proximity, when you're around other people and see other people at higher levels, it's just like it's a bit of a scary game to get involved in. And I think that's why you got to get very clear on, like, you know, what's your vision and what are your values. And
But
to be honest, that's why we decided to go down the franchise route and like sort of scale things back, because like, yeah, we had 3 locations. We had a freight company going as well, so we had trucks going, wholesale company, and you know, when we peaked, we had like 22 staff. We did just shy of $1 million in sales in a month.
I saw it. That's incredible, man. Yeah.
But like, I was stressing out of my fucking eyeballs, mate, and I couldn't do anything. I was just like a prison in my own business that I'd created, and I was just like, well, this wasn't the fucking plan. This is what I signed up for. And you know, time will definitely refine whatever problems we had. But at the end of the day, I was just like, well, what is the vision? What are we trying to get out of this thing? And like I said earlier, you know, when I sort of was in Alaska, I was just like, I just want to build a business where I'm making good money that's going to give me the luxury of being able to, you know, travel and that sort of thing. And so that was, so it was just like, you know, we don't have to turn over millions of dollars. We don't have to like compete with, you know, because there's always going to be the next thing. So like, and I guess that's why we came back to the vision, which is just like, you know, we just want to create a business that's going to give us, you know, location freedom and, you know, I guess an abundance of cash in relativity. You know, yeah. I sort of have a bit of a number of what I'd like to hit. And
Okay, so there's like a numeric thing. Because some podcast I heard, they're like, even if you hit number 1 in the world, the richest in the world, you're not going to stay there.
Nah.
So even number 1 isn't like really goes through time.
Exactly, man. Yeah, and you know, and what if we hit that number? Am I going to be like, oh, sweet, we hit the number and now everything's okay and I'm relaxed? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to try and be aware of that and try and just enjoy. Like, this year is really just about trying to get to that target and enjoy it. You know, like success, man. There's there's so many pillars to success. You
True.
know,
Yep.
there's so many people you see they got their business lined up, but they're overweight and unhealthy and fucking type 2 diabetes. They've got other people that have got really good family nucleus and they do all the right things. They're an awesome dad, but they're fucking broke. And it's just like, so for me, the goal is like trying to just constantly compound and become better across all those pillars. Like, how do I become better with my wife, Jemima? How do I be, an awesome dad for my little girl? How do I, achieve financial success? How do I, tap into like hobbies and passion projects as well and be creative?
Befriend yourself in your head.
Yeah. Improve your internal dialogue.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So I think success is like when you can get to a point where you just fall in love with the process and appreciate it.
Right.
I think if I was to like label something, I think it's really that, because if you're passionate about the process and you're quite happy with the pursuit, understanding that there's going to be good days and bad days, I think like if you just keep going, you're going to find things are going to work out eventually with time. Some guys are going to get there quicker. Some guys are going to get there, they might not get there, but like if you fall in love with the pursuit, it doesn't really matter, because you just enjoy the hustle and you enjoy
experience happening,
self-improvement and all that sort of stuff. So I don't think, I haven't quite hit the level of success that I'm like striving for. So I'd say no, but but like I see some people that like, and I think they're successful, and like they might not be making the number that I'm talking about. Like everybody's definition of success is going to be, completely different.
Yeah, because I'd assume like short of buying an island right now, like you'd have to hit a diminishing return where you can, like the car's not going to get much better, the house isn't going to get much better. You know what I mean? But I'm kind of directing it at you in that I feel like you're kind of there. No, you've peaked, not
dude.
peaked, but you've. I see you pull up. I've seen what you pulled up in. You're doing.
It's not.
I mean it in the best sense as well. Like it's awesome. Yeah,
I appreciate that. It's definitely the banks though. But you don't pay cash for depreciating assets. But to be honest, like buying the cars and that, and like I can use that as an example. Like I bought a Chevy 2500 and Brent's banker, and I remember like fucking just wigging out how excited I was about this fucking car, mate, getting it all organised and fucking talking to the brokers like, yep, we got it locked in, yep, sweet, going to pick it up.
It's happening.
I was like fucking that G'd up, picked it up. I was the fucking man for about 3 weeks. And then it was just like, now it's just like, I forget, it's just a car. I forget that it's even like a decent car, and just go and get in the car, and then sometimes I pull up and someone's like, oh, fucking hell, mate, nice car. And it's just like, oh, yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'm still hungry.
Just a fucking you, mate, all right? Just calm your tits. but like, I appreciate that. And like,
100%, yeah.
I think, and that's how you raise your identity and your frequency, and you start to, I think that's how you grow as a person as well, by, without sounding materialistic. It's like, we sort of like, I had a mentor that sort of said it to me. It's just like, dude, you need to upgrade your lifestyle, and which is like upgrading your identity. It's like
Brand as well, or
brand a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely like good for, like, that sounds ridiculous, but like it's, if you're in the social game, it's like marketing and all that sort of stuff. But like, we had the 3 businesses. We were turning over millions of dollars a year, and I was living in a little weatherboard house that me and my wife bought for $320,000, and just cruising around in a normal car, and like I wanted more, and I sort of had to raise my vibration in a way. And so I know it sounds quite ridiculous, but like, yeah, we upgraded our pad, our cars, and I genuinely feel like it gave me an identity shift with how I carry myself, and without being materialistic. People treat you differently, when you rock up in a nice car. People treat you differently when you look after yourself, and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, it's not just, it's physically, emotionally, I guess what you can prove that you've done, and material items are a measurement of, I guess
the work you've put in,
work you've done, and what you are doing. So, and it is a bit of a hard one, I think, with. And what you're doing here is fantastic for networking and growing. You said it earlier about growing your network and establishing relationships. It's very hard, like, being in small business, and when you're sort of trying to not like I'm very fortunate. I've got like probably 10 friends that I've had since like primary school, and we're all best mates, like really good best mates. But I'm still trying to like it's not about leveling up your circle, like trying to climb the ladder socially. It's more about I want to learn more. I want to raise my frequency so that I can unlock another level of like understanding and comprehension of what's possible in terms of standards and lifestyle and business and all that sort of stuff. And you've got to, what's the saying? You've got to be show me here in the room with the 5 people you're in the room with, and I'll show you your future, sort of thing.
Yeah,
and
just so true, man.
So how do we break that cycle of like big fish, small pond, and go to small fish in a big pond again? And that's trying to find people that challenge you and find people that like I guess influence you on a higher level, higher frequency. And so that was sort of something we decided to do, just to upgrade our lifestyle to try and just I guess I don't know what else to say, like
expand and grow.
Sort of internally, my identity and all that sort of stuff.
I guess using what you just said as a backdrop, how do you differentiate between new friends and someone being parasitic to your success?
I'm pretty closed off, man. Like in saying that, we're how I'm wanting to expand my circle and that sort of stuff, like we all are. I've got massive trust issues, bro.
As you should, man. Yeah.
And I've got my friends from primary school, and like irreplaceable in terms of the connection and that sort of thing that we've got. And like we've been back in where we live now for 7 years, and we didn't really find a network of like regular friends that we hang out with for like a good until probably only 2 years ago. For like 5 years there, we just sort of hung out with old friends and that were lived a couple of hours away and stuff like that. Just like didn't really very like seclusive sort of thing. Because I am sort of a bit protective of my energy, and when you do work hard and put in a lot of time, like time is precious, and spending it with people for small talk, I'm just like I just can't do it, and especially when you're like you are really hungry and driven, and like I just want to talk about that. And I can't just talk shit anymore. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about like my future and self-development,
kind of creating,
and being creative thoughts, or deeper like spiritual discussions and stuff like that. And so if I'm not like around those sort of people, like I just don't bother, And so I guess the crowd that we've sort of stumbled across, they own the gym that I go to, and we just became friends. And then they introduced us to some other friends in small business. So
like-minded people.
it was just fucking refreshing, man. Like we just sort of all catch up, and we're all talking the same language. Staff, fucking customers, cash flow.
Can you pick out a vulture now? Do you feel like you can see when someone's posturing a bit more to kind of get a piece of the pie, essentially? You definitely get a lot of better at reading people, for sure. Because I kind of get the luxury of like coming clean with it with the podcast. I'm like, hey, I'd like to network. I'd like to meet you. I'd like to create a link. But obviously I'm like, wow, this guy knows what he's doing. But there's an element to certain people, including yourself, and I think I'm starting to create it, is you can see opportunity in people as well. So I could see how people would want to start kind of, I don't know, because it's not a bad thing. I feel like if you're transparent early,
100%.
But then there's deceptive people
100%.
that operate.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell. Like a good one is like, especially if you've got a product or service, and like if they come into your business for that product or service, and like, if they're sort of like they come in there expecting discounts and stuff like that, and there's lots of different ways to tell. I think going out for dinner, like how does the person talk to the waiter? If you walk past a bit of rubbish, like do they look at it and pick it up, put it in the bin without anybody realizing? Like those sort of things that you look at in people, and you're like, you can tell if they're a good character or not.
Do people expect you to pay now? Is there a bit of that or no?
No, dude. We're not like, and like, don't get it twisted. We're not fucking like that, like, yeah, dude, fuck, especially 2024, man. Like I said, it was the tightest year of my life.
Okay. Yeah.
Like our lifestyle is probably a bit more expensive than most, but you know, we're definitely not, and I wouldn't be okay with hanging around with people that would expect that. You know, to be honest, the crowds that we hang around with, it's sort of like, we pretend to go for a shit, and it's whoever can get there first to pay.
Okay.
And
Exactly.
sometimes it's me,
Typical.
sometimes
Yeah.
it's Russ, or sometimes it's somebody else, and that's when you know as well you've run into a good person. But don't. I hope I haven't given the perspective off that we're fucking super loaded, man. Like,
It's not fuck you money yet.
No, dude, no, 100% not. Like, it's definitely the goal. Like like I said, we've achieved a lot of success in business. We've, we've been hit with a fair few fucking right hooks here and there.
Which you've been very vocal about. Yeah, like that's not. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone.
No, you got to be, man. Like, because like it's no joke, and I think that's what we like to talk about as well. Like, on our podcast is just the transparency. So, because like a lot of people that don't have a network, say like what I was talking about, like the guys from the gym and that, and they're not going to be able to vent their problems and stuff like that, and so they think, oh fuck, it's me, and all these problems means that I'm shit at business, and it's just like, nah, you've just had X, Y, and Z happen. It's just like it's a typical fuck up that happens, like. And so the more transparent we can be about our problems, it's just like, I just feel I've even had clients, because they're like, they've listened to, what we've done, and some of the problems we've had, and they're just like, oh dude, you just made me feel like I wasn't fucking alone, and building those connections, and it's good. You got to be transparent.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, there's like a whole new market now of authenticity online, because we can all see bullshit, but I think we're all trying to aim for, hey, I'm selling authenticity, which is a beautiful thing, because you just, like, who doesn't want to be more authentic and then benefit off it?
Yeah.
And then everyone, it's just like a fucking a happy kind of, growth in that regard. Has the business evolved your personality over time?
Definitely, man. Yeah, like the way that I described it to my wife was, I don't really watch like Marvel movies and shit, but that Spider-Man Venom character.
Mm-hmm. Wait, which one?
Venom.
Venom. Yes. Yeah.
I was like, I feel like as the years go by, as I'm in business, I'm like that Venom character in like this black, like, suit of like hardened, like sort of frustrated. Yeah, it's just like slowly like coming back over my sort of like naturally quite chilled. And
you're Tom Hardy.
And yeah, it's like usually like I was as free as a fucking bird when I was backpacking around Asia and that, and chill as nothing could really bother me. And then, but I think you have to become quite hardened, calloused, and direct when you're in business. Otherwise, you just get fucked. And I've been pretty hard, callous, and direct, and I've still been fucked.
Yeah.
So it's definitely hardens you, and you definitely like have a lower tolerance for a lot of people. And I think especially if you get burnt a fair few times, it's really upsetting for the next person that comes along. But you're going to carry, like, for me, and definitely something I'm trying to work on, but like that's something that I carry with me now. And so the next guy, he doesn't get as good a chance as, my day one sort of thing, if that makes sense.
100%.
Because you just feel like, oh, fuck, it doesn't matter how good I'm going to be to you, you're going to fuck me eventually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's kind of really deep what you're saying, just like in terms of life. Yeah, man. I'm so torn, because I get that experience as well, where I've been jaded before, but then how do you keep your heart open to connection and love and warmth when you did do that, you just got fucking rorted and smashed.
Yeah.
So it's a tango. I don't know how to balance that, man.
It's hard, man. I did another one of those Vipassana retreats just before Christmas. So I did a 3-day silent retreat, and and so that came up quite a lot, like the problems we had with team staff members last year, and you know, and yeah, the only thing like you can really do is just like on a deeper level understand that they've done it out of impurity and they're suffering.
Yeah.
The reason that they've done it to you is because they're suffering inside. So I need to like, I guess, carry the weight of their suffering and forgive them and understand that like they haven't done it from a pure heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like, and so I find that, but it's still hard, you know. And
Well,
so
it's
so
hard
like
because you got to be the adult in the room, and I hate that I'm always the adult in the room. Like my whole thing is I deserve to have my tantrums as well, but I'm not built to have tantrums.
Yeah.
So I always end up being this punching bag.
Yeah.
Like, and then yeah, you never get to
internal tantrums then.
Yeah. So they just like implode internally.
Yeah.
But you're bang on in that. Does that mean all right? Let's go there. Do you think someone can be evil, or are they always just a product of their environment?
I think they evil until they become aware. You know, I think, you know, again, dystopian sci-fi me is just like I think like 80% of the human race is just walking around dormant and unconscious, and like literally, like you know, you think of it like, you know, alcohol is sedative, and it's marketed. It's like it's, you know, you're weird if you don't drink.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
all this sort of stuff, and like, you know, so everybody drinks, and like I know when I take, you know, windows of sobriety, like the clarity and the perspective and the awareness that I gather from that over time, and then I go, you know, if I go back to casually drinking again, having wine and beers and all that sort of stuff, like it, yeah, it sort of, you become less conscious, you know, and that's why I don't really enjoy it anymore, and I think, yeah, everybody's walking around just sedated and really just unaware of, like, just taking no accountability, not really aware of, like, you know, what's right and what's wrong. And
I feel like we're losing awareness of our own like bodies even.
Yeah, man.
And my 7 hour screen time agrees with what you're saying, by the way. So I'm you know, guilty as charged.
Dude, it's bad. And I don't want to, like, you know, everyone sort of goes, oh, social media and it, you know, the world's fucked. And it's just like, it's not. It's just changing, you know. And you know, how do we adapt to change? It's just like, you know, you should constantly be like, people sort of knock people for changing. Like, oh, you've changed, bro. It's just like, fuck, if I was the same person I was 2 years ago, then like there's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, if I was that same guy I was 10 years ago, that's a problem. You should constantly be changing and evolving and becoming better. And like, you're really just becoming, you know, as long as you're you're changing in a positive way, you're really just becoming more aware of like who you need to become to, you know, become the best version of yourself. You know, so.
I'm gonna do a cringe meme. There's like a so we're just fuck it, we're going for him. Yeah. But it's one of the it honestly related, exactly what you said. But it's like a caterpillar talking to a butterfly, and the caterpillar says, "You've changed." The butterfly responds, "We're meant to." And I'm like, shit. I know it can come off cringe, but it's so bang on in that, like,
yeah, 100%.
So without incriminating you though, do you feel you've got some old school friends that that haven't changed and have presented to you like that, and you felt like,
oh yeah,
you know, because I somewhat feel that with certain people, and I'm just like
some people will just never change, like it's just like, and you know, but if they're an old friend or family or whatever, you love them for who they are, and it's like it's confusing. It's just sort of like, how have you not like progressed or changed or, you know, developed, and but it's just how people are.
Yeah,
and,
I don't mind that, but it's more, there's certain people who still demand X amount of my time, and like when I start to now resource my time accordingly, not a lot of people, but some people just haven't made the cut as much in terms of like efficiency and where I need to go. Yeah. So it's not that I'm like, oh, I'm too good for you. I'm just like, I'm not seeing at this point in time where you fit into my puzzle. And that's something I'm somewhat experiencing.
Yeah, I think, you know, to be a good friend, I think, you know, it does have to be a little bit transactional when it comes to value. I think you definitely have to be there sometimes, and, you know, be the rock for a certain person and support somebody that, you know, is that needs it at the time. But, you know, if it's I think a long-term relationship, really there should be an exchange of value there for sure. Like, and I'm not talking about like monetary, but like, you know, yeah, like you need to be talking about the same language, and you need to be, you know, encouraging each other to win and all that sort of stuff. And like, if you've got a person that's toxic, like it doesn't mean you don't have to, doesn't mean you don't love them, but it's just like you need to be protective of your energy because, like we've only got a finite amount. You know, and like we tried to catch up last year. And I was just like, bro, I've got a finite amount of energy, and like right now, I just need to fucking focus on me at the moment. And you know, you go through those periods, but yeah, dude, there's always going to be people like that in your life. You know? And that's probably the hardest thing about, like we talked about earlier, about becoming a better leader. And that's why it's so important for you to, you know, dial in on your you know, your habits and your lifestyle and personal development and all that sort of stuff, because like everybody's coming to you to hand out your, like they're coming to you for energy. They're coming to you for advice and to pick them up, because like, you know, they've always been dependent on maybe their parents or a big brother, or dependent on somebody and, or the system, the government, or, you know, and so then they don't actually understand that they're almost in a deficit of their contribution to society. And as a leader, you need to have an abundance of energy to be able to give that to the people that need it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Terrible,
I don't know why you think that sounds terrible at all. That you kind of captured leadership perfectly right there.
Yeah.
And having the vision to walk forward, often into the dark with people who follow isn't a bad word. Like I love when I'm in a group of mates and someone else is the leader, because I'm like, oh, you want to lead the way? Yes, please. Like allow me to follow, so I don't need to feel the burden of leadership all the time.
Yeah, 100%.
Sorry, just because the thought came up to wrap it on the friend thing. I think I've noticed it's not a bad thing, but I'm more tolerant with family. But there are friends who I've noticed, I just call them in my head the update friends, which I'll interact with them, and for most of the conversation, I'm just updating them what's happening in my life. And then I'm like, so what's going on with you? And they're just like, oh, you know, the same thing. How about you? And then it's just me talk, like, and I don't want to talk about me the whole time, but the conversation is just, hey, this is what I'm up to now. This is what I'm doing. And I was like, I don't have time to update you. Fucking check the podcast, man. Like, I don't like, you know what I mean? So that's where I'm becoming a bit more like conscious of my time, in that there's some friendships that just, they're not providing me value. It's just me providing entertainment to someone to say, yeah, we're still linked. This is what's going on. Yeah. So sorry, I really had to get that off my chest.
Yeah, no, I get you, man. And that's what I said. Like, it does sort of need to be a bit transactional. Like, you know, it can't just be you just talking at them or asking them questions and that sort of thing, like, which happens quite a lot.
Yeah. Or just giving advice. Like, I'm not the psychologist either. I'm happy to listen, but that can't be. Sorry, I'm repeating what you've said, but often I'm feeling I'm not getting a lot of value now. Out of a lot of things.
Yeah. So and it doesn't mean you don't care about them. You don't love them and that sort of thing. But time's sacred, bro.
Essentially, man. Was there a particular moment you felt yourself move a economic class? Was there an aha moment or a particular purchase?
Yeah, like I said earlier, like when I had that mentor and he said, like, you need to level up your lifestyle. And so we did. We just got a new house and.
But sorry, so you already could, but you hadn't. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you made the conscious decision to move it up.
Yeah, literally just within like 12 months we just replaced both of our cars in our house, and we're just like, there's probably people and they're like, oh, depreciating assets, not a very good thing to put your money in. It's just like that comes from a scarcity mindset. My wife and I went through the exercise at the start of last year when all this shit went down, and we were like, fuck, what if we go under? And, so we went through the mental exercise of like, right, what's the plan if, we go under? And it's just like, there was fucking tears. We're talking to the accountant and it was fucked.
That's a scary conversation, man.
It was the hardest conversation, one of the hardest conversations I've had. And we came up with a plan, and it was just sort of like, oh, if we've got a plan, then like it eliminated the fear of what if?
Yeah.
So it's just like, well, if that happens, we've got a plan and we're going to be okay. We're going to go through emotional trauma for like a period of time, but like we prepared ourselves for that. And what made me realize was like, you can take everything away from me, I could take everything away from you, and you're still going to have the skill set that you've got. You've still so you can't really lose. you as a person can't lose.
Yeah.
You can lose the things around you, but you can't lose. And so, yeah, this mentor that I had, it's just like, upgrade your cars and upgrade your lifestyle. It's like, it's more of a, like, raising your frequency. And it's just like, because if you're in a scarcity mindset and you're like, oh, if we just hoard all of our money, over here and we put it into an investment property, and then like when I'm 60 years old, I'm going to get the car of my dreams, and that's why I see a heap of 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds driving around my fucking car. But it's just like, I was just like, well, I want to drive that car now. And just like, well, because I have that much confidence in myself and my skill set that like, no matter what, I'm just going to either keep growing or I'll just get it again, and there's going to be people that, don't agree with that, but they've just got a frugal scarcity mindset because they don't believe in themselves. Whereas I just believe in myself so much. And I think those are like, how do you do that? How do you have self-belief? You've just got to keep honouring the promises that you have with your internal dialogue,
Nice.
and, because there's a lot of things that you say you should do, like, getting up at a certain time, eating certain foods, fucking, your internal
Everything
dialogue.
you should be doing right now.
Yeah, which is like your, the supreme consciousness. And so you either choose to listen to that or you don't. And I've just got better at listening to the right voice. And that's sort of like, and then you have a win, and it's just like, oh, well, I honoured my word, and the right thing, the correct thing happened, like what was supposed to happen happened. And so it's like, and then you start to build trust inside of yourself, and that's where you get that self-confidence. And so the purchase, we upgraded to go back to your question, upgraded our lifestyle, and that was sort of, I do genuinely feel like it brought me to a different level in on the inside.
Okay.
Where it's sort of like, this is how we operate now, and from another perspective is like, talking about there's a fucking ripper reel that I saw the other day, and like, bro math, cut your expenses or make more money. And it's just like, make more money.
Yeah.
We're not cutting our expenses. And like,
that's fucking solid. Yeah.
And like last year, when things were tight at the start of the year, like fucking, I think it was a really good tool that, like, our lifestyle is quite expensive, because it made me like move pretty fucking quick and start to get pretty smart. You know what I mean? So I was just like, fuck, what do we need to do here to like get this, to get out of the hole? And so, would I have had that same drive and emotion behind what I was doing if, like, I didn't have sort of that elevated lifestyle, like my, overheads of my lifestyle being so expensive? Probably not.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to operate at a higher level now. It's just like, there's no going backwards. You know what I mean? It forces you're either forced up, or you stay small. And so it's not like you get to this like amazing point of, like I said, like, you get to your 50s and 60s and you retire, and like, it's just like, fuck that, man.
Yeah.
Like,
and it sounds like you've been, and I know you've spoke about this, just getting comfortable failing as well.
Yeah.
Most of us are so scared to even remotely fail, or the image of what it might look like if you fail.
Yeah. But the only fear behind failure when it comes to most things is really just your attachment to the feelings of what other people think. And so if you don't care about what people think, and you understand that every failure isn't a failure, it's a lesson, and as long as you develop skills from that lesson and you keep moving forward, then like I said, you can't lose. Your skills will never fade. Like, you'll always have that. You'll always have your mindset. You'll always have those skills. We could start again tomorrow, and like, I just know we'd get back to where we are probably twice as quick, and
amazing,
and probably surpass where we are right now, without constraints of what we've got, like with the brick and mortar business and stuff like that.
That's across the board. That's transferable. Like, we should be taking that for relationships as well. Like, even if a relationship ends, you should 100%, or in my experience, be like, I still learned from this. It wasn't a failure, essentially, But well, that's essentially what you're doing. It's all relationships, really.
Yeah, man. Fail forward is what they say.
Fail forward.
Fail forward.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, and that's literally how we've learned so much. Like, like I said, we didn't go to uni or any of that sort of shit for fucking business. We've just literally, someone says the stove's hot, I just make sure I fucking touch it first before I believe them, And if I get burned a few times, then like, I've got some cool scars, but we got there, Like,
and the stove's actually hot.
Yeah, that guy was right, but that guy was wrong, And that you've got to learn. I say this quite a lot. You have to learn through emotion, because I've been and this is the thing that people don't understand is like all the information is out there. You can go on YouTube and you can learn fucking anything, mate, and you can within 12 months you can be living a completely different lifestyle. You know, there's like not billions, but like millions of success stories of people just like completely changing their life in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months,
Right.
you know, through learning skills on the internet. We haven't got an information problem, we've got an application problem. People don't know how to apply those skills, or people are afraid of applying those skills because, like, you know, what if I change? What if it's working right now, but if I go over here, then all this, like, what happens if I lose everything? What happens if, you know, people see me try and put myself out there and then it doesn't work? And attachment to the fear is just just what's holding everybody back. Or like, you've just got to fucking fail and realize that, like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's actually okay.
We just tried so many things. Like, I've tried that many fucking things. Like, before we started Alpha Tires, I would have started, like, you know, I've always been quite entrepreneurial since like a young bloke, and like, fuck man, would have tried like 10, 15 things. You know, little startup ideas and business fucking schemes and stuff like that, and like nothing ever like got traction. It was just, you know, and then and then
Alpha Tires kicked off.
Then it works, you know, and you know, and it's been a really good chapter for us, and now we're on to sort of the next thing, which is more the online sort of money game. But you know, I wouldn't have been able to tap into the online money game if I didn't build the foundation of, you know, traditional brick and mortar business, and sort of understand the fundamentals and all that sort of stuff.
And getting it wrong to get it right.
Fucking it up completely, multiple times, bro.
Suffering,
bathing in it, mate. You got to bathe in that, bro. When it's bad, you got to bathe in it and like use that as fuel.
I don't mean to keep bringing up quotes, but they're popping up, and I can't hold it in. But there's a banger. It's not about getting it right. It's about getting it a little less wrong every time you try.
Exactly.
So it's not it's about not that perfection right off the bat. You're gonna get it wrong.
Yeah.
Refine, tweak, recalibrate, and
Yeah.
look at me talking like I'm there. But I embody it in my personal life as well. But
you're doing it, man. Like, how old are you?
27.
27, yeah, bro.
Right.
Like, honestly, man, like, 37's still young, you know. 47's still young, you know. It takes fucking time. Like, this is like, I can't wait to see your progress, bro.
Thank you, man.
Like, it's just, but like you're breaking the mold already. You know, you're doing what you're doing here with the podcast, and you know, putting yourself out there, trying to network, and you know, establish these relationships, like, and like, you know, learning how to put all this whole production together. You know, it's like that in itself is going to be a skill set.
Yeah,
boom,
agreed.
Bang that in your tool belt. Like, every little thing you do is just boom, bang that in your tool belt. Bang. You know,
But so there's an element of this though, because you mentioned you had your switch moment. I personally as well. So I'm a bit of a somewhat determinist in that I believe in free will, or I believe you can do things willingly or unwillingly. But at the same time, I feel like I didn't choose to want to do a podcast. I don't choose my motivation. I'm just kind of like there for the ride. So if in terms of like talking to people who want to do the thing they love, firstly, you got to know yourself well enough to find it. And then the other thing is you kind of need to be good at it. So I just don't know how to really give that as advice, though, to someone who isn't there yet. I wouldn't know how to tell someone, find it and get good at it. I don't.
Yeah, it's literally another quote that we're going to butcher. It's just like, fucking throw it at the wall and see what sticks.
Yes,
you know, like for me, guys, like fucking September 2019, I started my tyre business. I had my ute, and I had this trailer with a tyre changing machine and the balancer in the back and a storage shed. That was it. And it was just like, so in my head, I was just like, you know, I was like, fuck, I've started my business. And like that first 12 months was just like, you know, amazing, incredible. But it's just like, that's where it started. I had no idea that like we'd be able to, you know, do what we've done. And then like now, I'd say like sort of 12 months ago, I feel like I really found my purpose, which is like helping other people in the automotive business scale their businesses. And it's just like, this is what I've fucking, you know, this is what I'm meant to do. This is my like, but it's taken me 5 years to find my purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not just like you just figure it out. I'm 30, you know, so I'm 30, figured it out when I just turned 30 or just after turning 30. That like, right, this is what I want to pursue. This is like not
Your
the
calling.
not the end game, but it's
Yeah.
definitely like what I really just like. It just feels so passionate about, you know. And you know, and I think it's going to take us to that next level, you know, with our goals and ambitions and stuff like that as well. But yeah, just grab something and throw it at the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
See what sticks. Like, and
Shoot first, aim later.
my best advice would be, start off doing something that you're either already extremely skilled at, or already extremely passionate about, because it's very hard to do anything like at a high level, and so you know, to be able to withstand the you know, the hard times, you're not just going to get through it just because you're going to have to be passionate about it or really fucking good at it. Otherwise, you're not going to get through the low times. You know, you're going to give up. It's going to be too hard. And I think Steve Jobs said something along those lines, like you have to really fucking love it. Otherwise, yeah, you just give up.
Well, that's in tune with what you said a moment ago, that, what did you say? It needs to stem emotionally.
You have to learn through emotion.
Learn through emotion. But yeah, I think as well, a lot of us don't realize how much we actually operate just based on emotion. We think we're all super logical. No, we're probably mostly just emotion walking around.
A lot of the time,
with like a layer of logic and, I'm sequence and this and that. So
emotional intelligence, bro. Like, fuck. It's like I said, still learning that game as well. Like, you know, I had a bit of a short temper when I was younger.
I developed a short temper. So I was always calm, collected, and more probably after COVID, which we won't dive into. I definitely got a shorter fuse now, or I'm a lot less patient.
Yeah, right.
In general, So I don't know what that is. We won't dive into that.
Right,
but I'm on the inverse of where you've come from.
but like, you know, you're working on that, like, and that's the beauty of, like.
And I'm not working on it. I love it.
But like with martial arts, you know, like
true.
BJJ.
I'm joking.
And all
Sorry.
that, like those disciplines.
Of course.
You know, I just started. I just got a coach for one-on-one boxing now.
Nice.
Which is a sort of new thing I'm doing. You know, I've always gone to the gym and trained and all that sort of stuff. And I was just want to, you know, find a new discipline.
Refine a skill a bit more.
One-on-one, and just like, you know, because like you go to the gym and I'm like, I got, you know, staff calling me. I got, you know, there's notifications on the phone. It's very easy to get distracted from the now. And, you know, with boxing, you know, one-on-one, it's like you get a coach and the phone goes over there and it's just like, we've got an hour and we're just like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know? And I love that, man. Like, I just love that, like, 1 hour just to completely fucking switch off, and you just like you're just in the fucking present moment. And
man, that's why podcasting is my flow, because we're not on our phone. My only objective right now is to listen, to actually listen, and to find a thread that I can relate about, and then to see where we can go in this conversation as well. So right now we're just actively only talking. So I genuinely, like, even after the podcast, I've had some guests say there's like a light, like a dopamine almost.
Yeah, you get a buzz from it.
It's just a buzz from being completely present, because that's all we're doing right now. I think it's incredible.
I've done a couple of these podcasts, and like every time you sort of come off, you're like, "Fuck, am I high?"
Yeah, man. I feel light. It's a weird, like, I think Chris Williams says like a post-coital kind of high. It's like it's a funny thing there, but yeah, man. So 5 years, that's a decent amount you guys have been doing it. You would have seen the AI coming into the market while you guys have started. Has that affected your business at all, or can you see it affecting the business?
Our particular business, you know, like tire and automotive, there's a lot of good people in the trade, but there's also like a lot of just fucking dinosaurs, man. Like, you know, I'd just about be able to put my hand on my heart and say we're probably one of the only, not the only, but like top fucking 5% that's using like the latest software, CRMs and any AI, if that. Right. And most people just like they enter the phone and they write it down on a fucking post note and they chuck it in their physical diary and like, you know, hope that they don't lose the piece of paper, you know, whereas it's
on like a landline and shit.
Yeah. And we're using like software and, you know, we put together a CRM with this particular software company to really help nurture leads and make sure that, you know, every single lead that comes through gets nurtured and not missed. And so we've got like a little bit of AI automation in there, like with when we're sending off quotes, there's AI, you know, automation with, you know, following the quote up. So
could it ever threaten your job though, or not threaten? I know it's fear mongering, but yeah, is there a threat element?
I think if anything, like, yeah, if we can bring robotics into the actual the labour side of tyre fitting, which is like is pretty much right there. You know, some of the machines that are getting made that I see on the internet, it's just like it's pretty close to fucking not having to have tyre fitters.
Yeah.
Um,
Automotive automation.
yeah, it's like it'll happen that quick. I'll be transparent. I haven't dived a lot into AI. It confuses the fuck out of me. And you know, apart from the software that we use we've got like an AI transcriber. So when the phone call comes in, it's recorded, and then we've got like an AI transcription from the whole conversation, so we can read the recording as well. But apart from that, I don't know, because it is like it's a traditional labour role. I don't see, you know, and again, like it could all change 12 months later down the track, but I think the adoption will be a slow process.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so there's probably a lot of things out there, but I think it's going to take a lot of fossils to die that are in the industry before anything's adopted. Like, you know, some of the stuff, like, yeah, and it's a very older generation industry. You know, there's not a lot of young people that are coming in and, you know, innovating and trying new things. And I think that's why we sort of grew the business so quickly with, you know, actually understanding how to make social media content and actually understanding, you know, the power of automation for Google reviews and all that sort of stuff. So
you literally found that niche in the market.
A little bit, yeah.
And as you mentioned,
just understanding, you know, modern technology and all that sort of stuff. And
as you said, it's not the prettiest job in the world.
No.
So there was like a gap there that people want to jump in.
I did want to share that on the podcast today. Like, if you are thinking about, you know, you're not too sure what business to start or something like that. Like, there's so many people trying to reinvent the wheel with AI and apps and fucking e-com, and like trying to do all these sexy things that are just oversaturated. And it's just like, don't reinvent the wheel. There's like, think about an industry that's like a dinosaur industry that's recession proof. Like, you know, at the tyre business, for example, we're always going to need fucking tyres, at least for the next maybe 20 years. I don't know.
Till cars fly.
Till they're fucking flying around, yeah. And, you know, so try and find something like that, because a lot of the time, because people aren't interested and they're not sexy, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to like just make it better and be quite successful in that area, because like there's not much competition.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
It makes complete sense. Yeah.
So,
yeah, find your thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's all free market.
Like I said, yeah, just throw something at the wall and that could be it. Like, just like what's a dinosaur industry that's recession proof, and have a look. And the opportunity right now as well with these traditional brick and mortar businesses and that is a lot of these businesses are owned by people that are in their, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s. They haven't built the business to exit. They've got no idea how to exit.
Yeah.
And so like right now we've got like industries that are like built on the backs of like people that are just about to retire, and there's no one like coming up through the cracks.
That's so true, man.
So like the opportunity right now to like, if you don't know what vendors financing is, look it up. And like the opportunity right now, if you jump on the phone and you called fucking 20 different businesses in whatever niche you wanted to go down to and say, look, if you thought about exiting your business in the near future, and they say, oh, fuck yeah, I'd like to, but no one's going to fucking buy it or whatever. Like, research vendors finance if you don't know what it is. And like, there's a lot of opportunity there if you can strike a deal through vendors finance, if you haven't got a hell of a lot of capital and these guys don't have an exit strategy, you can sort of assist them with an exit strategy by, you know, offering them some sort of deal that benefits you both depending on your financial circumstances. And so yeah, dude, fuck it, really
Again,
exciting.
that's so specific, like in terms of that's actually an actionable thing you can do if you want to get in.
Yeah,
these people are growing older.
100%.
There is going to be a gap.
Yeah.
Like
we bought our wholesale business like that. We this old guy, he had the business for fucking like 40 years or something like that. He was like in his 70s, and I was just like, so what's the plan?
Where's the go?
Yeah, you going to sell the business? And he's just like, oh, no one to buy it. And I said, oh, I'd be interested. And I gave him, I think, 20K up front, and then we just paid him off the rest over 12 months. And
there you go, bang.
And we just took over his business. He got an exit strategy. He got a bit of a clip for every month for 12 months. And like, you know, so there's a lot of those opportunities out there, like, and depending on how you negotiate and how much capital you got, it's really not that hard. And like, if you really want to get ahead quickly, like that would be the quickest way to do it, because you're buying something that's already established.
Mm.
You just got to come in there, finesse it, make it better. And that is a sort of macro plan of mine. Once I have a couple of years, just sort of enjoying a bit of freedom and that sort of thing, would be to, come back and do the sort of, have a crack at the acquisition side of things.
Yeah.
And just leverage the, skilled migration market to bring people over. And, so we don't have that labour issue, and just get really good, managers, team members and operators in there, and, give them skin in the game, and because there's going to be a lot of opportunity for acquisition in the next, 5 to 10 years.
Do you have tips for negotiation?
Negotiation, I'm probably the worst at it, man.
No?
Because I've got too much heart in the game sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, all right. There's no. I was listening to like a behavioralist on Diary of a CEO. Highly recommend. It was probably one of the most valuable podcasts I've heard. But she was just giving tips on charisma, which she explains as warmth and competence. And that's kind of, charisma is this mix of two. Obviously, competence is a bit more cold, but warmth you need. Did you have to pick up on certain techniques, or is it just about kind of being yourself when you negotiate?
No, I think like I'm still developing that skill, to be honest. Like being transparent with you. So with our online business, we've got like what's called, we've got a closer, so like a sales rep. And so that essentially their role is like, we book in a sales call, and it's usually a video conference like Zoom or something like that. It goes for like 45 minutes to an hour, and it's them pitching our product or service on the internet to the potential prospect, and then closing them, into what we do, the mentorship, whatever. And so anyway, really good guy, but he found a better offer at the start of the year. So I said to the team, I was like, I'll just jump in the hot seat so I can get some reps in and learn, the art of closing or negotiation. And pretty much all the boys were just like, Jamesy, you care too much, bro.
Oh, okay.
You can't be a closer. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, dude, you're just giving them way too much mayo. You just need to be like, there's a, like, the psychology behind closing and sales is like really fascinating, and I think it's definitely worth learning the skill, if whoever you are, learning the art of sales, the art of closing and negotiation. But for me at the moment, I don't have that fucking. I've definitely got it to some degree. Like, like if you come into our business and you're looking for a price on tires, like I'll fucking get the sale.
Yeah.
Like 99% of the time, I've got that skill in my business.
The knowledge in it as well.
But the actual art of negotiating and closing psychology, it's a different animal. It's definitely a different beast. Yeah. And I really want to learn more about it. It's cool. It's very cool. Like, and it makes a lot of sense, and it's all about, discovery, pain point, emotion behind the pain point, and, cost of inaction, and then, offering a solution, and then, objection handling, that sort of thing. And it's like, whereas I just sort of get in there and I'll like try to solve people's problems on the spot.
How's your relationship with your wife? It's just like, just everything, dude. Have you called your parents in a while?
But definitely a skill worth learning, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, it sounds intense, man. Because that's everything we do is relationships.
Yeah.
Especially now moving into this more social media space.
Negotiating everything, really. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy, man. You've dealt with so many people, so many walks of life. You were explaining in one of your episodes, one of your workers essentially betrayed you. And honestly, while I was listening to that, I'm not even joking. I was listening in the car. I think I was driving somewhere. Man, I heated up while listening to it, because I think I started relating about my personal betrayal experiences. So as you were talking about it, I was like literally, face was hot. So I really that was a big point of resonation with you when I felt that. Can you dive into a bit of that and what happened? Are you comfortable sharing a bit of that?
It's happened to us twice now. So it happened at our second location. The manager and his missus were basically just buying in product and selling it for cash on a smaller scale, maybe 20K or something like that, probably over time. But then sort of the start of last year was like a lot bigger scale. yeah, long story short, without going into too much detail,
I can actually link which episode it is for.
Yeah.
I probably will. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's in the description below if you want the full in
Um,
depth. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, basically, long story short, I, sort of had a team that I trusted, and sort of the main guy down there was actually set up. He was going to take over as our first franchisee, and we started the business down there together. And when I say together, like I, put up all the money, put up, the gear, the equipment, because we scored a really big contract with an asphalt company, like a multi six-figure contract just for this one particular business. So we had to make it work down there. Found this guy, put him in the hot seat, and I said, look, you give me some sweat equity over the next couple of years, and like you can take over as our first franchisee. So that was sort of like the negotiation from the start. And so that was supposed to happen at the end of last financial year, but he obviously just got a bit too impatient and greedy. I think he was heavily influenced by the other guys that were there. But yeah, long story short, I got a message one day from a guy that I know, and he's like, oh, I had the boys around, did a grouse job, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, fuck, I haven't seen any, because I processed all the invoices that went out of there. And I was like, I haven't seen an invoice for that bloke. Gave him a call, said, oh, the boy sent you an invoice? And he's like, no. And I said, oh, it's a bit weird. What'd you get? And it's like a couple of grand's worth of shit. And then I said, how'd you pay? And he goes, oh, I just paid direct with pay ID on the spot. And I was just like, oh, right, to who? And he told me who. And so I just thought it was him. And that was like sort of in the November. And then another one came through in January. And then I sacked one, and then the other one left with him. So I thought, oh, they must have both been involved. And then the main guy just pretended that he had this falling out with these other guys. And again, like, he was a bit of a bro. Like, he was going for a marathon. I was going for an ultra at the time. And so we were talking about running and all that sort of shit. And then, yeah, long story short, I think it was like March, so a few months after he'd been sort of working on his own. And we just started like, cash flow was just getting worse. And I was just like, fuck, what is going on?
These ads aren't hitting anymore.
Because like we had a little bit of value for you. We had the three locations, and a massive mistake. We really should have had them under three different entities, but we had them under the one entity and the one P&L. We had separate sales reports, but so on the P&L, it was very hard for me to see like where we're overspending on product and was it which location, that sort of thing.
Oh, so the cash flow was morphing into one.
Yeah.
So you couldn't. Okay.
And yeah, long story short, we when we came down to Melbourne in March or whatever, we saw the other two clowns driving around in a new truck, and I was just like, oh fuck, who are they? I haven't heard of the business before. And then we did an entity search on the business, and we found out that all three of them started up their own company like the year before. And they were literally just funneling my customers into that entity while I was paying them all my vehicles, fuel, tens of thousands of dollars worth of tyre disposal. That they were just obviously the jobs they were doing. They were getting me to get rid of the tyres, and we were importing containers of tyres from China. So like you get 300 truck tyres in a container, so it's very easy to skim off the top. And so. Yeah, it was
all under your nose, man.
Yeah, man. It was honestly a fucking wreck. And then I had to move away down to Melbourne for 6 months and try and run that business, keep everything afloat. Leaving my newborn daughter and wife back 3 hours away. It was honestly fucking rough, bro. And but again, as much as it's like I've been deceived, my immediate reaction is like, what are the systems I could have had in place to avoid that? What could I have done better? Like, where could I have had my finger on the pulse more to make sure that, that doesn't happen again or that sort of thing. So, and that's good news. I'm pretty stoked that I can actually talk about this because they tried to put an IVO on me and it literally got intervention order.
Yeah.
And it literally just got scratched out last week. So,
but what did you confront him? I mean, rightfully so, but they're going to have some grounds to...
I didn't... physically do anything to them, but I fronted all three of them.
Now, by the way, for the record, as you should, and are rightfully.
Yeah. But it was in the public. Like it was in a bar. I saw their trucks parked at this bar, and I just pulled straight in and just like, you fucking cowards.
You rodent cunts.
Yeah, honestly, I said a few things, and and then they basically they fucking went and tried to put an IVO on me.
All three of them went.
Two of them did, And so I had to go to court multiple times and I just denied allegations, and because they put like other stuff on there that wasn't legit.
Of course, yeah. And IVO is so easy to get past in
Anybody
court.
can do it.
Anyone can do anything you
So
want.
I had to go to court 3 times. I self-represented the
stupid.
last time because I've got a friend that's a solicitor, and she said just self-represent because like it'll get scratched out. And yeah, it got scratched out, so that's why I can sort of talk about it now. But
Right.
the good news is, yeah, it's in the hands of a major fraud and theft investigation. And
So what they did.
yeah,
Interesting, man.
we've got like yeah, video surveillance, multiple recordings, transactions.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, going after them
Yeah.
legally. Yeah.
Yeah, so we go through them criminally, and then once we get an outcome criminally, then we can go after them civilly, and like it's never going to, you know, it's pretty much like while we had the business down there, it's pretty much like a complete wasted exercise, you know.
Man, but
so-
that's like just fucking parasites, man. Like
Well,
even
the fucking mayo on it is we're the 4th business that family's done it to. So I found,
yeah.
and I've heard from the sources of the other businesses. I've actually got in contact with them, and yeah, we're victim number 4, and one of them nearly went bankrupt. They had to close the business down, sack 6 or 7 employees. The other one, I won't go into it, but yeah, as soon as we get the conviction, we've got the story with 7 News as well, so it'll be going on.
Shit.
I've been fucking hard at work, bro. I'm not letting these people get away with this, mate.
Fuck, man.
Taking me away from my daughter for 6 months, living in fucking Caroline Springs, like.
Well, even the
I was just like-
non-tangible stress as well. The fact that you still are going through this,
Yeah.
all at the cost of being trusting,
Yeah.
at the cost of being a decent fucking
Yeah.
person.
You just can't. You have to, like, what's the what can happen will happen. You know.
Yeah.
You need to like you can't
That's
trust it.
Murphy's law. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. If something can go wrong, it will go
It will.
wrong, and at the worst possible time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you've just got to you can't. It sounds shit. You can't. You just have to have the systems in place, as if everybody's going to fuck you. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's such a shit because I've always been so, just like, you know, well I sort of expect other people to have the same values as me, and it's just like you don't steal, you don't cheat, you know it's like just typical fucking values that I think most
Basic.
most fucking people should have. But these
Asking
people
for too
just
much.
rat bags, man.
And
yeah.
like in terms of your new style, I don't think it's bad at all because if someone comes to me with that or I go to them with that in my work or whatever, if there's any tension about me tracking things, I'm just kind of like, wait, why do you worry? If we're not going to have an issue, then you shouldn't worry about
Yeah.
us putting this agreement in writing,
Yeah,
example.
exactly.
You know, or like a prenup in a relationship.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't mean we're going to break up, but if we're not, then this thing should just be in the background redundant.
Yeah.
Unless we're going to have an issue,
Yeah.
therefore I should have it in place.
100%.
So just by nature of it, I think if someone has an issue with you backing yourself or creating
Yeah.
a structure, then
Yeah.
to me, I'm like, all right, then I'm on the right move then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, man. And yeah, I'll be transparent and like, you know, I'm always transparent. I'm just like, you know, I've been fucked too many times, bro. So this is the new rules.
Yeah, welcome.
We've got a new employment contract every fucking 3 months. It feels like, you know, we're amending things and all that sort of stuff. And
I might cut this part out, or I'll just mute it. Was there a certain culture or ethnicity for this group, and is it did they perpetuate further stereotypes, or no, it was just someone you didn't expect?
just typical Aussies, man.
What?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
hurts a bit more.
But on this,
I find that worse because I'm like, you're meant, fuck you.
nah,
like
typical, like, play at the local footy club and fucking.
that
yeah.
makes it worse.
Yeah.
That makes it a lot worse,
Yeah.
man. Because
One-
you can't
one-
just be
one
like,
of-
oh,
one of
they're-
them's a coach for like the under-16s at the football club, and I'm just
wow, man.
like,
And all the more reason you would have, I think it's okay to say, probably would have been a bit more trusting because you assume we're of a similar culture, we're going to have similar values.
yeah, but in saying that, like, you know, I'm from the country, and you know, I had to move to Caroline Springs, which is, you know, a lot of ethnicity in Caroline Springs. And I said to my wife, the people here are nicer to me at the supermarket than in Echuca, like back at home. You know,
Yeah,
like
okay.
like everybody was lovely. You know, like I don't, so I don't think, you know, I don't like to stereotype anyone really. It's especially after just life, bro. And like I spent a lot of time overseas. You know,
Mm.
6 months in India, a few months in Nepal, a few months in Vietnam. Like, I try not to stereotype anyone if I can. You know,
Good
but
on you. I've gotten worse. I've gotten angrier on the roads. I've
yeah.
become a lot more. I'm not joking. Like I'm really trying to
You
work
can
on it.
stereotype
Like,
actually on the roads. That's a different story.
I'm just everywhere. I've become really like it's just. I just keep getting proven right. Well, you proved me wrong, but like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I get it. 100% get it.
yeah. So it seems to me like, yeah, through all this, does this drive your I guess what drives your love or need for community? Because you seem to be building a an alpha ties empire essentially with the life coaching.
Um, yeah, well, it's called Auto Cartel. So it's away from Alpha Tires. And it's we're sort of focusing on helping other people in the tire and automotive industry scale their business and self development and whether it's marketing, sales processes, whatever it might be. We sort of help them across all facets of the business. Um, and then the other community that we've just about to sort of like we've done the beta launch, which we sort of brought in about 10 people just to sort of get the process going. But it's called the Vault, and we're just about to launch that I think next week. It should be all finalised, and that's more of a community of just men and on the self development path, and we've got a protocol that they go through, which sort of dials in their habits, rituals, lifestyle, diet, and hopefully their physique gets dialed in and their mindset, and they're around a good community of guys that know how to win. And then we've also got education modules on there, teaching people how to make money online and so they can have a bit of a side hustle, while they're in that community and learn how to, personal brand and marketing and remote sales and all that sort of stuff. So we do all that inside the Vault as well. But, community is just, we just, we've never been so connected, but we've never been so disconnected.
It's weird.
And I think me, like we touched on earlier, I feel like I've found it very hard to find my people, my tribe, because I'm quite a passionate dude, and so I've been having a bit of a lust for just wanting to be around other people that are on that same path. I just feel like I'm just sick of the fucking Friday barbecue and we all and people watching football and talking about fucking all that sort of shit. Like I'm just like
Just like a wall.
I'm
yeah.
just not that dude,
Yeah.
and so just trying to find my tribe, man, and
Or
hopefully
create your tribe even.
and bring people together. And I know there's a lot of guys as well with the the men's mental health thing, without getting too bogged down in it, but like it's a massive problem. I think we're losing toxic masculinity's getting thrown around way too much, and we're sort of losing some good leaders and good men. So I think trying to find those people and encourage them to step up and be better men across all those pillars that we talked about with our family and with our habits and eliminating our vices. And so yeah, it's a bit of a mission, man, because the amazing thing about mentorship is it forces you to level up.
True. Yeah.
If you're genuine and authentic, like you can't slack off. It's just people looking up to you. And it's like, so it's forced me to level up a bit as well. And keeps me continuing to do that. Even when we're going through the shit, like at the start of last year, like I was a fucking mess, bro. I'll be straightforward. I was an absolute mess there for a bit. Like I even fucking paid for a PT at 6 o'clock in the morning just to get my ass, just to make sure that I got out of bed, because I was that fucking down, man.
Yeah.
And I've never, I'm back on the horse now, but like I went through a window there where I was just like fucking didn't want to get out of bed, didn't want to, I was drinking most nights, just fucking couple of beers, not like out of control, but like
It's just a bad routine.
trying to sedate my problems as opposed to like push through and work through them. And so having the responsibility of being a mentor, you don't stay there for very long. It's just like, fuck, dude, wake up to yourself. You get people that are relying on you. You need to be the best version of yourself. And obviously, a little girl, wife, and so it's a good thing.
It's huge, man.
Yeah.
Do you feel, or have you felt, I guess, what's your relationship with loneliness? Do you feel maybe even the more successful you get, do you feel a bit more isolated? Do you kind of...
I sort of like enjoy isolation. Like I travelled solo for like nearly 2 years. Quite happy. Like obviously meeting up with people along the journey and that, but I sort of enjoy myself. I sort of like just thinking about things and just bit of a deep dude like that. But I also enjoy my relationships and being around my wife and and close friends and stuff like that. But loneliness it's important. It's like, because if you're not alone, then you're not really you don't have time to really long form deconstruct problems and problem solve. So for me, like I've always enjoyed going to those like silent retreats and stuff like that, where you just sort of you got no choice but to just fucking
Sit with yourself,
internal dialogue for a bit, and
Yeah.
just peel back the onion layers and just work shit out.
Yeah,
So,
and if you can't enjoy sitting with yourself, how do you really expect anyone else to?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
if it's not a
100%.
fun place, like if I do things alone, I try either make a fun game in my head, or if I see animals, I get really weird. I make sure no one's around, but I try like communicate with animals in a weird way. But like,
Telepathically.
no, like I'm like that. There was eye contact. I'll just like really get into it. But I think all these like, I think when you're alone as well, or just in solitude, that's my example of it. But I start to do things that, if there's other people around, is socially weird. But you can kind of just develop this like one-on-one with yourself without the shame or the rules, basically.
Yeah.
And you can kind of
Or think about, or go into the thought of like, why do I feel shame around that? Why can't I be
Yeah.
open around that? Because like, guilt and shame is like the lowest form of the lowest frequency, and so
Yeah.
if you're constantly in a state of guilt and shame, then it's very hard to have abundant thinking and sort of break that cycle, and people can pick up on that when you're in that sort of
Yeah.
headspace, and you can tell when you're around people like that, their energy's off, like their personality, or they won't make eye contact with you, or that sort of stuff. So
I think a good way to start it for me was like I guess a thought experiment. Is there a song that you listen to when you're alone that you want to dance to, want to sing to, but feel like you can't? I'm not saying name it here, but I definitely I used to have some that I was like, I'd hear a song, I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird to listen to. But I'm like, and that was when over time I'm like, wait, I can't enjoy this fucking song. Do you know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
you can't even get into that relationship with yourself, I'm like, there's no one watching, there's no one around.
Yeah.
Enjoy the song.
Yeah.
As soon as I started doing that, my music taste expanded, my experience of the music expanded. And to be honest, that was like a first point of me, like, starting to just love the things I love, because that was like a big one for me. It was like, even music I'm not allowing myself to enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, we can do better than that. And then it was a bit more uphill from there for me. So yeah.
That's good.
It is. I think it's a good, like,
shit, yeah.
simple, direct one that most people can probably relate to. I hope, or I've just put myself on a show. Well, this is us. This is
That's
it.
it. You are, mate.
Awesome, man. No, thank you so much for making the time.
No worries, bro.
Your vibe attracts your tribe. I feel like I've gravitated towards you. I'm a follower. I want to see where else you take it. And
Yeah, cheers, man. I want to see where you take this, bro. Like, it's just that's all it's about, trying to just connect with like-minded individuals and learn and progress, and it's good, man. I appreciate you having me, bro. And
thank you, man. Thank you.
It's been good.
Yeah, man. And I'll keep involved. We'll keep in touch anyway. But anytime I'll just try, if you're doing any community things, I'm going to want to be there. I'm going to like just stick on as much as I can. But which I think is awesome. I guess, what does the future look like for you? Where do you want to take both the business or just personal development?
Dude, I think pretty blunt, like with my goals this year, and I really just want to get our online business to sort of 6 figures a month, and I want to get to without sounding fucking what's the word when you
Pretentious.
maybe pretentious. I want to get down to sub sort of 10% body fat with my physique, and I think who I have to become and what I have to do to get to both of those things. I think everything else will be in my life will be quite good, because it's going to bring the discipline, it's going to bring health, it's going to bring stability, it's going to
Structure.
So I think that's the goals for this year, man. I just don't want to get distracted by anything else. I just want to get the online biz to sort of 6 figures, and really just try and get in the best shape that I've been in, since day dot, and that's it, man. Just focus on just getting better every day, and spending as much time with my little girl as I can, and that's about it.
Incredible.
Yeah. In the future, after that, I know we'll just get to this one first. Get to
Yeah.
this
Step one. Step one.
this milestone, and then we'll recalibrate after that. Yeah.
James Hayes, thank you so much, man.
No, thank you, man. That's good.
I'll see you.
Good
See you on the next one, man.
No worries, man. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you having me on here.
Peace. 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 Peace.